The sun beats down on you as you take your first look at the world around you, and oh my god, what is that? You're a newborn Daeodon, and this lovely couple is your parents. At nearly 2 meters, they're taller than average humans, who thankfully don't exist yet, and their heads are huge, 3 feet long, making up about a third of their whole body. The only thing keeping their massive heads upright is the extra muscle packed into that hump on their back. It's also hard to miss their terrifying teeth and large cheekbone protrusions. You're relieved these giant monsters are actually on your side. For now, anyways. If you catch a slightly disappointed look in your parents' eyes, there might be a reason for that. You were born into a dry season, food is tighter, water is harder to find, and you're another mouth to feed. Not all the other Daeodons are excited to meet you either. They're not super big on being social, but the droughts have brought them closer together where there's still water available. It's a simmering environment, and tensions between the dominant males are starting to boil over. Here, in the late early Miocene epoch of what will one day be known as North America, you're in the middle of one of the most heated family gatherings of all time. As an even-toed ungulate, like a bison or a hippo, you were born relatively mature and haven't needed a great deal of help, but there's still a lot you've learned from your buffalo-sized family members. These fearsome creatures are part of the Entelodontidae family, and earned the nicknames Hell Pigs and Terminator Pigs. Certainly not the kind of faces you'd like to see at your doorbell at night, but despite their nicknames, they're more closely related to hippos or even whales than pigs. Watching your family, you wonder if they're the sharpest bone knives in the prehistoric drawer. They may be the largest entelodonts with equally massive heads, but their brain cases are actually relatively small, with brains the size of an orange. Still, you see they're smart enough to get the most out of their harsh environment, thanks to their impressive set of teeth. Their molars are great for grinding plants, while their Tuscan canines are great at tearing apart flesh. They even use their incredibly powerful jaw muscles to crunch open bone and access the nutritious marrow inside that all other predators couldn't reach. It's a lot of good advice for a new kid on the block, but perhaps one thing you couldn't have prepared for is when they turn on each other. In the pressure cooker of this dry season, 2 males suddenly lash out at each other in a challenge for dominance. The rest of the group gets uneasy as the colossal monsters take a step back and size each other up. It's a showdown in the sizzling sun of the American Old West. The very Old West. They posture, trying to get each other to back down. They show their teeth. They thrash their heads. It's a stalemate. Then one of them draws. They begin snapping at each other, massive jaws slicing deep into fleshy faces. They slam their heads into each other and clamp each other's skulls in their razor teeth. The chaotic showdown sends the bystanders running out of the way, not wanting to get caught in the crossfire. But there are eyes who see this scene as an opportunity. Desperate eyes. Hungry eyes. A bear dog swoops in and picks off a baby Daeodon while its mother's back is turned. Feeling confident, more bear dogs appear, dusting off their napkins and sharpening their knives. Food's been scarce lately, so they're excited the menu features baby back ribs. With the battling of the Daeodon stirring up confusion behind you, you find yourself face to face with one of these fierce predators licking its lips. The other adults are too preoccupied with either fending off other bear dogs or the bloody showdown to notice. It's just you and him, fight or flight. Well, fair choice. The bear dog is in hot pursuit behind you. Daeodons are fast, but you've still got little baby legs. It's a long time running before your pursuer decides you're not worth it, but you still keep running. Then, suddenly, you realize you're safe. You also realize you're lost. Or, from a more glass-half-full perspective, you know where you are. You're right here, but everyone else is lost, and no matter how hard you search, you can't seem to find your trail back. You're still a little young to set out alone, but it's time you learn that nature doesn't care. You're on your own, and it's time to grow up fast. Your main focus is finding water. You mainly move at night to avoid the blistering sun. In the light of the lonely moon, you think of the family you've left behind. Will they miss you? Are they better off without you? Who won the fight? You find a small mud puddle. It's not exactly purified spring water, but you're lucky to find it. It's enough to quench your thirst. But there hasn't been much to feed your hunger. Just a few dry leaves and a few dead vines. Your keen sense of smell catches a whiff of something down an embankment. Your heart stands still. Is it a predator? Could it be prey? With your binocular vision, it's easy to see. It's a small beaver, or, to put it more accurately, it's a feast for someone who hasn't had a decent meal in a long time. You come racing at the beaver, and no surprise, it takes off running. You can keep up, but your big heavy head is hard to maneuver, and you can't seem to pin down this quick little creature. It dives into a burrow and it disappears. Tough luck, champ. Back to wandering with the lonely moon. You come upon some half-decomposed thing. Something that was also hungry and thirsty but didn't find anything in time. Well, its loss is your gain, I guess. It's not really what you'd like to eat, but you're in no position to be a picky eater. As always, you do what you have to do to scrape by. The rains eventually come, but when it rains, it pours. The wet season hits hard and fast, with violent downpours flooding out the plains, tearing up dead trees and shattering the homes of other animals. Was that your dinner from the other night? Yeah, you still can't tell what that was. It's a soaking water world. It brings its own challenges, but it also brings new life. The land becomes green again, and you can graze and have your fill of nuts, vines, roots, and other vegetation. For the first time in a long time, your stomach is full. You're walking over the prairie one day when you spot a bear dog taking down a gazelle-like stenomylus. It's a big meal, full of nutrients, and it's newly dead. Not like that last thing that you ate. You don't think you'd ever be able to hunt down a delicious meal like that with your own big bulky head. Maybe it's just not your lot in life. Cursed to only ever scrape by for survival by drinking mud puddles and eating decomposed remains while the sun beats down or the floods crash through. No, you don't believe that. You've put up with so much to survive. You deserve a meal like this. It's time for you to embrace the name that will echo through the ages. A bear dog used to be a threat to you, but you've grown. Just as it begins to munch on its hard-fought prize, it sees a hell pig burst out from the brush, eyes blazing and squealing with fury. You force the bear dog away from its meal and begin to chow down. The bear dog isn't too happy about this, and it tries to reclaim its food. But before you can even act, another of your kind swoops in and chases it away. Then he starts sharing your meal. Well, why not? You both seem to have the same idea. You're both on the same side. This could be a good setup. So you and a few of your new Daeodon pals have a bit of an agreement. You hang around each other and wait for a bear dog or a Daeodon to tackle and kill a nice meal. Then you and your squad come blazing in to chase that predator off like a bully stealing lunch money. But that's not all. You also work together to pick off live animals here or there, then drag it back to your group's meat locker to save for later. Pretty sweet deal. It really is good to have friends. But as they say, no honor among thieves. Mating season rolls around one day, and all the males pretty much turn on each other. You're at each other's throats, literally, trying to prove who's the helliest hell pig to potential mates. Your opponents open their terribly wide jaws and lunge at you. They dig their jagged teeth deep into your face. They slam their tank-like bodies into you, as aggressive as they would against any prey or competing hunters. And you thought you were on the same side. But no one can wound a Daeodon quite like a Daeodon. Well, after taking more than your share of knocks over the years, you decide it's time to pack up and move along. Unfortunately, you feel the dry season beginning again. Just your rotten luck. Well, what else is new? You eat as much food as you can while the getting is good. Grapevines are a good way to supplement water. You swipe kills off of bear dogs. You even hunt down a beaver or other live prey if the opportunity presents itself. And then the droughts sweep over the plains. Hell on earth yet again. As always, you do what you have to get by. Your reputation seems to precede you among most animals. When they see you coming, they'd rather run than face your infernal wrath. But secretly, times are getting tough for you. Although you're equipped to struggle through the dry season, they always take their toll. You're also worse for wear from your confrontations with other Daeodons over the years. You have scars deep into your eye sockets and a crushed sinus cavity. In some ways, every loss, every hardship has fueled the fire inside you, making you more aggressive and determined. But it's also worn you down physically. You keep fighting. You survive. The rains eventually come. Intolodonts such as yourself are no stranger to struggle. They've been fighting their way through millions of years of hardship. Since the middle of the Eocene epoch, you've made it this far, if not with your orange-sized brains, then with your brute force and scrappy resourcefulness. You've been a scavenger, a hunter, a forager. You've worked with others and alone. You're as content with meat as you are with veggies. You've fought with and against your kind. But now, there are other daring predators who think that they can compete with you for food and territory. More specialized hunters, like the Daeodon, cutting into your turf. One day during a particularly scorching dry season, a desperate Daeodon sees that you're not the Daeodon that you used to be, and he thinks he can even make a meal out of you. Joke's on the Daeodon, because you were thinking the same thing. The Daeodon is faster and more nimble, but you manage to get in a few good whacks with your head and slices with your teeth. Looks like you still got it. The Daeodon decides it's better to live to fight another day and scrambles off. You try to follow, but you're too old and weak. You decide to lay down and await the rains. The rains never come. Not in time for you, anyway. In the end, it's not the predator that causes your demise, but what has always been your greatest enemy of all, your environment. It made you what you were, and eventually, it ended you, too. Eventually, the returning rains wash away your carcass, just as all Daeodons will soon be washed from the face of the earth. You will not be missed. You will not be mourned. Although crafted into what you are by this world you have no control over, you were hated and feared for what you did to survive. The remaining animals who watch your carcass float by all think the same thing. Go to hell.